בוקר טוב וחודש טוב לכולם.
חודש טוב.
Okay, we'll start with an exercise just to recall what we did last week. So the assignment is to write a program that gets 3 integers from the user, doing this with a loop. Okay, so you want to get 3 integers from the user, and you want to output a message box how many of these integers were above 50. Okay, so you get from the user 3 numbers, and you need to output with the message box how many of these numbers were above 50. Questions about the assignment? Yeah.
Are we looking to get like a unlimited number of?
No, 3 numbers.
No, but I mean in terms of how many people can enter in numbers, in terms of, or just,
Well, what? What's the question?
does offset matter in this case, where they're entering in those numbers?
You don't have to go to the
Fine.
sheet at all. There's no work with the sheet this time. Just get 3 numbers with a loop from the user and output in a message box how many of these numbers are above 50. Now, as usual, you can just copy paste part of the previous lesson's exercise and use part of it for your new program. That's a tip.
One more time, you get the integers, and then
3 integers,
share on the loop,
and then message box,
message back.
how many were above 50.
matrix with the loop. I'll put in message box how many integers were above 50. What?
You called me this morning?
Hmm?
You called me?
Yeah, I wanted to know. We didn't know what class it was going to be in because this is a Yotze Dolphin.
I was driving.
That's fine. How do you loop these things? What do I need to do? These close to 7 now.
It's only if all three numbers are above 50, or if only one?
No, you need to put out how many of them were above 50.
Uh-huh.
0, 1, 2, or 3.
So we need to write numbers in the Excel sheet.
No, you get the numbers from the user while the program is running.
It's from the old program. Well, we have to add this.
No, you write a new program where you
Yes.
get 3 numbers from the user and you check how many of them were above 50 and you put out that number, how many, 0, 1, 2, or 3, in
Okay,
a message.
okay. To the
Damn, I forgot I do this.
Anyone get it?
Maybe.
Are you still trying to get the if?
What?
Take a count if? Anything like that?
Count if?
You're not counting how many numbers.
You're counting how many times it was above 50.
You're stating how many times, or you're saying how many numbers are.
No. You get 3 numbers. Let's say a user puts in 20, 30, and 55.
Right?
The answer would be 1, because there was only one number above 50.
So it is a count. So it is a count.
It's not a count if, but you don't need anything new other than what you already know. There's no need in a count if, which we didn't learn how to do.
small. What means compile error for without next?
You started a 4 and you didn't put next. 4 is a loop. You have to finish it with a next. Look at the syntax of a for loop.
Okay.
How do we get the 4 to be blue? When using a loop, how do you get the word 4 to be blue?
It's automatically. If you wrote it properly,
But
go to the next line.
it's not doing anything.
Okay.
4.
Yes.
Okay. Anyone get it? So let's do this on the board together and see how to work it out. And then you do it yourself on the computer. Okay? So be with me. How do you suggest we start?
You do a sub at the
Insert
beginning.
procedure.
Yeah, well, start, and a name and end sign. That's
Set variables.
okay. So we write here dim, right? And then we write here a variable as integer, comma, variable as int, comma.
They said we're getting the
variable.
integer. I thought we said we're getting the integers from the input box.
Yeah, but you want to be clear. Okay, so let's say this is x1, x2, x3. Or, do we need 3?
No.
No, you just need one.
Okay, so if you see I'm doing something that is not correct, just say. And so, since we're getting it in a loop, there's no need in 3. So we're not going to call them x1, x2, x3. We just need, for right now, x1, right? Now, what do I write?
For I.
What?
Okay, so lose one
I
equals
Four.
one already.
I
Why, we haven't declared I as a
equal
variable.
1. What now?
2.
Yeah.
2, 3. So over here, I write I. Okay?
So we haven't declared I as a variable.
You
Oh,
can.
we
You
did?
can.
Okay.
It's all you can.
Okay?
It's too early in the morning.
And if I write 4, I need to have next, right? So I write down here next. This closes the 4. Now in the 4, what I want to do,
Input box. Input box.
x1 equals input box. Please enter a number. Right? You can put here a title also if you want, with a comma. You know how to do that. Okay, so now we're going to get 3 numbers. What do we want to do with these numbers?
Want to see the message box if it's greater than.
1 second
Yeah.
before we get to the message box. That's the last thing we do would be message box. Right? After we know the answer, we just put it out. Okay, so I'm going to give you 3 numbers and you give me the final answer. 55, 72, and 25.
We need to make.
2.
We need.
Yeah.
We need to write down that it needs to show all the values of higher than 50.
Right. That's what we're going to write in the message box. Okay, so when I gave you the numbers, what did you do in your head?
Figure out how many of the 3.
You didn't do that in one stage. I gave you a number. What did you
Each
do with
individual number, you tell it if it's gonna be over.
Okay, you took each individual number and you checked if it's above 50. If it was above 50, what did you do?
Check it off.
You, in your memory, you said, okay, this is 1. And then I gave you another number. It was above 50, right? What did you do?
Check that one.
Check the 1 and turn it into 2, right?
Mm.
Now you know, and you remember 2. Then I gave you another number, it was below 50. What did you do? Disregarded it, right? So the 2 stayed the same. And then at the end I asked you what's the answer and what did you do? Give me the number that you remembered, the 2. Okay? So that's exactly what you need to write in your program. You get a number, you check if it's above 50. If it's above 50, then you remember that as 1. Okay, if not, nothing. Then you get the next number. If it's above 50, you erase the 1 and turn it into 2. And go to the next number.
So
If
if
it's not above 50, you don't do anything. You end up with that too, and you put it out as an output. Got it?
How do we restore that as a memory?
What?
How do we make that a memory? Let's say we're gonna do an if
How do you make
afterwards.
that a memory? You declare another variable as answer or whatever you want to call it.
So it means you have to do an if after the inside the loop before we get to next.
Exactly.
So if user equals.
Okay, so I do over here inside the loop if what?
If user or whatever is greater than 50,
And 50, then
then
and
then-
I started here if I have to have an if right over here.
yeah, nachon.
And then what?
Then answer
Then answer number 2.
Answer equals what?
X.
1.
Equal 49.
We did this once already. What do we want to do? We want to count something. Okay? So we don't want it to be equal to 1,
Answer
because
plus
we
X.
wanted to remember what it was before and add 1. Right? If I write
Oh,
1,
plus-
it's always
Plus X.
Plus X.
Answer plus X.
Answer plus X.
answer plus,
1.
I.
answer plus
1?
1. What happened? I gave you one number, it was above 50. What do you remember? 1. Right? Then I give you another number, it's above 50. What do? You add 1 to the one that you remembered before to turn it into 2.
Alright, we don't have any previously defined answer.
At the beginning, answer equals 0.
Okay, is that no?
Do we have to put that in though?
The minute you wrote
Oh, I didn't see that up there.
dim answer as integer, it defines answer and it gives it the value 0. Now,
Oh,
if you want to be sure, because not in all programming languages this happens automatically, you can just write over here answer equals 0, and then you know that it starts with a 0. Yeah.
It still needs to be bigger than 49 because if we have 50, it should be above 50.
Okay, so we said above 50. So this is above 50. If you want to include 50, you just write equals larger or equal 50. Or you can do above 49.
So wait, so how do we add 1 to answer? We do answer equals answer plus 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where would we put that on? Answer equals answer plus 1?
Yeah, message box. Message box.
If x1, okay, equals to 50, then
Answer equals answer plus 1.
Next.
that would be as a separate line, right?
But if is after the loop?
Yeah, that's your if. That's the then what?
So in the message box we just put in answer and that's it. Because answer is gonna have the what's that?
Right.
Not with quotes, just the actual answer, no?
Works? Anyone got it to work? We have one over here.
1 second. Choose the number 55. Number 56. Choose number 57. Answer 3, yeah.
2.
In a minute it should end if and the end message box, no? The
Okay.
last one.
1 second. Hold on.
The last is message box. What do we have to write in the message box?
The answer.
It's not very like intuitive, but like it makes sense.
1
to
second, I
look,
just
like,
had to say
I
this.
said that at the first lesson of the class.
Right.
Okay, wait, I need-
It takes time to get used to
Probably in class 8.
telling a robot how to work.
Nachon macros. I hate doing that, saving and have to remind it that it's a macro. I always forget that.
Yeah, I can remember.
But yeah. So sababa.
Okay, who has the program running?
And what we have to write in the message box? I write message box, brackets, open, answer, brackets down. This is right?
Did you run it? See if it works. It should. Yeah, how many times did you do the loop? It's supposed to go. It's supposed to ask you 3 times. I went to 3. If x1 is an integer, survival. Answer. Did you declare? Oh, did you declare answers? If you declare answer is 0 before the f, go to 4. Go to 4. Enter. Zaba. Now go over here. Answer equals 0. Now try it.
This is not.
Okay. Answer equals 0. Run it. Yeah. Why is it only giving you 1 time? I equals 1 to 3. And if and then answer equals 1. I don't see any difference between what you did and what I did. 1 second. I 1 to 3.
I know what I did.
I
Probably
you
wrong.
have and answer and number. Do that, you know.
I don't understand why it's not going 3 times.
Answer.
Oh.
Okay, so what we will write over here would be answer.
I equals 1. I equals 1x 4.
Just have more.
Okay, so I see most of you got it. Those of you who didn't, here, look at this. I'm going to just copy the program from last week, and that's something that can save you a lot of time if you understand the programs and you remember what you did. You don't have to rewrite everything from the beginning. You can use code that you had before. I have to change the name, so I call this 3val50. Okay, and over here, this would be my answer for
You don't
x.
have to have it as long in this case, right?
What?
You don't have to have my answer as long.
No.
As an integer.
No, right.
What does long and sum do again here? It's like not relevant, but what is long mean again?
Long is a whole number like integer, but much larger.
Mhm.
Go up to millions and above.
Mm. Okay.
Okay, integer is up to 33,000 or something like that, a bit less. So I can do
I
this.
think we're good.
What?
Can't take more than 33,000.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
4x equals 1 to 3. I equals input, please enter a value. Now instead of this, we need to add here if. My answer, no, if, sorry.
If
I bigger than 50, then my answer, this is 1. And now, this is an I right now, and I want it to be 1. An I and 1 are very hard to distinguish in the VBE. So many times I students load the program, everything's okay, but there's an I instead of 1 or 1 instead of I, and it's very hard to find that part. Okay, so pay attention. And if, and then message box. all we need to do over here is my answer. Okay, so I took the code I already had, which I know goes 3 times in the loop and gets a number from the user, and I just copied it and changed a few things to do the new thing that I wanted to do. Okay? And the basic thing that we learned here is that we can have a loop, if in the loop, and start counting different things while we're going through the loop. So now if I run this, the first value is 65, second value is 36, and 98. So I have 2 above 50, and here's my answer. Question?
Yes. So it doesn't really matter that here on the board you started the for loop with I equals 1, and then x was the integer, but over here you did the other way around. You made x the I, like for the for loop, and it doesn't matter. You're saying?
These are 2 variables that are declared as integer and are for me to use. Okay? I can call it x, I can call it I can call it Avi, I can call it whatever.
So it doesn't matter, Caleb. Alright.
As long as your program.
As long as you read it the right way, that's all. I thought like I was a chova, that it had to be for the for. Alright. Good to know.
Questions? Okay.